Air pollution in China is a wicked sustainability problem that has created a serious problem in China's public health. By now, many people know and understand China's effect on global pollution. However, I'm not sure that many people know how strongly China's pollution impacts their citizens' health. China is currently going through a public health crisis that has and will continue to receive global attention. Public anger over high risks, poor care, and in some cases corruption in the healthcare system have triggered more than 17,000 violent attacks against hospital doctors and healthcare workers. In Chinese cities, outdoor air pollution is the biggest environmental challenge for public health. In the city of Linfen, the air is so toxic that one day of breathing there equates to smoking 3 packs of cigarettes. The sources of the air pollution are from a combination of coal combustion, motor vehicle emissions, and factory pollution. The National Library of Medicine stated that China's current air pollution situation is like that of a developed country in the 1960s. It has been well documented that China's air pollution is a direct cause for increased rates in respiratory illness, cancer, and premature mortality. In this video, we will discuss China's public health system and how pollution directly affects it. Problems with China's public health system stem from a variety of factors, but when pollution is removed from the picture, China's public health dramatically improves and costs decline. China's economic growth has negatively impacted their citizens' health. China and the United States are in a close battle for the world's largest economy, but there is no doubt that China exports far more products than the United States. With corporations outsourcing production lines to China due to cheap labor and fewer restrictions on pollution, China demands a lot of electricity. The most cost-effective way for China to receive that electricity is through the burning of fossil fuels. Coal is China's largest source of power, followed by hydroelectricity. Coal combustion is a well-known contributor to climate change and is truly one of the worst pollutants out there. A study published in 2014 and reported on by Forbes and The Guardian stated that China's dependence on coal cost the lives of 670,000 citizens in 2011, a truly mind-boggling number of avoidable deaths. The study also found that hundreds of thousands of Chinese children suffered damaging respiratory health effects such as asthma from the coal emissions. Another large contributor to China's pollution are cars. China has more cars on the road than there are people in the United States. China has seen an impressive economic growth over the years, and with that economic growth came wealth. There are more and more people that can now afford cars, even with China's strict laws and expensive taxes. So, with illness on the rise from air pollution, especially amongst children who will suffer with these issues their whole lives, public health costs are getting higher and higher. It is evident that the problem in this system is the burning of fossil fuels, specifically coal and gasoline from motor vehicles. The 3 E's of sustainability in relation to this system are environment, which includes air pollution from coal combustion and gas burned in motor vehicles, causing large-scale air pollution resulting in increased public health costs and climate change, a massive environmental issue not only for China but the rest of the world. The economy, which includes higher healthcare costs due to pollution, related illnesses, and eventually less successful economy as resources begin to dissipate. And lastly, equity, where the wealthy benefit from the booming economy and get to move away from the polluted cities, leaving the factory workers and the poor to suffer the consequences of their actions. It is widely accepted that we are due to run out of fossil fuels such as oil and coal in the future, whether that's 100 years from now or 10,000 years from now. It doesn't quite change the fact that if we are consuming the resource, eventually we will completely deplete that resource. So, that makes the system a trap. A trap called the tragedy of the commons. The tragedy of the commons states that, when there's a commonly shared resource, every user benefits directly from its use, but shares the cost of its abuse with everyone else. Therefore, there is very weak feedback from the condition of the resource to the decisions of the resource users. The consequence is overuse of the resource, eroding it until it becomes unavailable to anyone. Not only are the people of China depleting their resources rapidly, they are damaging their environment and their own health doing so. Another trap also presents itself in this system, and that trap is rule beating, which can also be found in China's economic system. Rule beating, in this system sense, and in China's economic system, is when corporations in the United States outsource to China to avoid dealing with laws and fines. Some other examples of system traps related to this issue are the economic reliance on the industries contributing to the pollution, because without these factories, economies would collapse. Motor vehicles are another example. They contribute massive amounts of pollution, yet few people who own vehicles wish to use alternate methods of transportation. The solution to the tragedy of the common system trap would be to educate the public on resources being depleted, and possibly even limiting the supplies of resources to present a better understanding of life without it. The solution to the rule-beating system trap would be for the Chinese government to place stricter environmental laws on factories and corporations, even if that meant mirroring the United States in some of their environmental policies. To change this system, it is important to identify the leverage points, which are coal combustion, motor vehicle pollution, and government policy. Let's break it down a bit. By changing China's dependency on coal, by encouraging the use of renewable resources such as wind, hydroelectric, solar, or even nuclear, we immediately start to see better health, which in turn leads to lower public health costs. Motor vehicle pollution could be slowly solved by promoting electric cars by offering tax breaks, government subsidies, and other incentives for going electric. Lastly, there is government policy. If the Chinese government began placing stricter regulations on factories and higher fines for overpollution, then there wouldn't be as many countries outsourcing work to China, and maybe everyone would like to do things differently. Those are all difficult tasks that would not happen quickly, but over time, as China learned to keep a stable economy without mass production, things would improve for their environment and for their citizens' health. Fortunately, the Chinese government acknowledges that there's a problem, and they are beginning to take steps in the right direction. China already leads the world in renewable energy production from hydroelectric and wind power, and they lead the world in production of solar panels. The Chinese government even adopted 5 million electric cars and, although it was an ambitious plan, realized there are not enough charging stations around. China has begun to offer government subsidies as of 2013 and are aiming to have more and more electric cars on the road every year. China is also looking to become a leader in the electric car production market. With the steps China has already taken, and with more steps to come, hopefully things will begin to turn around soon. As I conclude this video, I wanted to show you my metamap, where I have stated my distinctions with China's air pollution being unsafe, unsustainable, unhealthy, caused by overpopulation, by motor vehicles, and by factories. I also identified the systems within China's air pollution, which are economic, environmental, social equity, public health, climate change, scientific, and environmental organizations. The next portion of the metamap is the relationship aspect. I identified citizens, governments, corporations, medical communities, scientists, students, environmentalists, employees, factories, factory workers, and industries as having relevant relationships with the air pollution issue. Lastly, I identified various perspectives relating to China's public health crisis. Those perspectives are hopeless to change, working hard to change, public health, industrial concerns, environmental concerns, economic concerns, law, and sustainability. In conclusion, China's public health costs will remain the same if nothing is changed. In fact, it is likely that the costs would actually increase significantly if nothing is done. Fortunately, as we have just discussed in this video, there is hope. The world has turned its attention to China, and progress is being made. With the reduction of pollution, the citizens of China will breathe better, live better, and in turn, public health costs will decline.